The United Nations Security Council is never short on drama. Every session brings its own share of tension, debate, and the occasional spectacle that captures the world's attention. This week was no exception. But this week, one headline stole the spotlight. U.S. diplomat grins as Pakistan lectures on terrorism. Cameras flashed, journalists whispered, sensing that something unusual was unfolding right before their eyes. All eyes were on the tense exchange, which quickly made waves in global newsrooms. Editors scrambled to update headlines, and analysts began dissecting every gesture and word exchanged in the chamber. Pakistan, known for speaking loudly and often on security issues, took center stage. Their representatives have a reputation for making bold statements, and today was no different. Their ambassador delivered a passionate speech about terrorism and the dangers facing the region, warning of threats and calling for international cooperation. But just as he raised his voice in warning, the U.S. diplomat flashed a knowing smile. It was a subtle gesture, but it spoke volumes. The timing was perfect, and the message was clear. The smile seemed to say what many were thinking but dared not voice aloud. This grin was more than just a facial expression. It was a silent commentary, a diplomatic response without a single word spoken. It echoed what many in the room were thinking. The atmosphere shifted as delegates exchanged glances, some stifling smiles of their own. Was Pakistan really in a position to lecture others about terrorism? The question hung in the air, unspoken but unmistakable. The irony was hard to miss, and the world was watching. News outlets replayed the moment, highlighting the contrast between words and reactions. As the ambassador kept talking, TV screens everywhere zoomed in on the U.S. diplomat's face, capturing every nuance of his reaction for audiences worldwide. Social media exploded with memes. Within minutes, the diplomat's grin became a viral sensation, sparking debates and laughter across platforms. For a moment, the world of diplomacy felt more like a late-night talk show, where wit and irony took center stage, and the serious business of international relations was upstaged by a single, unforgettable smile. The Security Council meeting kicked off with somber faces. Representatives from around the world sat in their assigned seats. Pakistan's ambassador, Munir Akram, adjusted his microphone and began his speech. He spoke loudly and clearly about the danger of terrorism in South Asia. "We have suffered the most from cross-border terrorism," he said. He warned of rising threats from Afghanistan, pointing at groups he claimed were operating freely across the border. But as his words echoed around the chamber, something else caught people's attention. The U.S. Deputy Ambassador Robert Wood sat 2 seats away. He listened patiently, but couldn't hide a small grin as Pakistan made its accusations. Some delegates exchanged glances. Was this a signal? Or just amusement at Pakistan's boldness? The room felt tense, with an undercurrent of disbelief. Before the drama unfolded, the world's attention was quietly focused on a different kind of urgency inside the United Nations headquarters in New York. The main business of the day was serious, with diplomats from around the globe gathering to address a matter that would impact millions of lives. The Security Council convened to vote on the future of the United Nations assistance mission in Afghanistan, known as UNAMA, a mission that has become a lifeline for the Afghan people. Since 2002, UNAMA has played a crucial role in Afghanistan, providing vital humanitarian aid, monitoring human rights, and supporting efforts toward peace and stability in a country often rocked by conflict. This year, in a rare show of solidarity, the Council unanimously agreed to extend the mission's mandate, recognizing the ongoing needs of the Afghan people. Every member, among them the United States, Pakistan, China, and Russia, voted yes, setting aside their usual rivalries for a common cause. The resolution, which passed with a unanimous 15-0 vote, ensures that UN eyes, resources and support will remain inside Afghanistan for at least another year, offering hope to those who need it most. The resolution also underscores the critical importance of stability in Afghanistan, not just for the country itself, but for the wider region and the world. It calls on all nations to work together, urging them to prevent Afghanistan from once again becoming a haven for terrorists and extremist groups, a concern that unites even the most divided countries. The Afghan people are not alone, declared UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres in a heartfelt statement, emphasizing the international community's ongoing commitment. The world, he said, stands with Afghanistan, offering support and solidarity in these challenging times. The vote was a rare and powerful moment of unity, a reminder that even in a divided world, nations can come together for a greater good. Yet beneath the surface, tensions and deep disagreements simmered, setting the stage for the dramatic events that would soon unfold, revealing just how fragile that unity could be. Pakistan surprised some observers by voting in favor of the resolution. Their representative spoke after the vote. He praised the UN's work in Afghanistan and stressed that Pakistan wants a peaceful, stable neighbor. "We support efforts to bring peace and development to Afghanistan," Ambassador Akram said. He called on the international community to support Afghan people, not just with words, but with real help. Pakistan's vote was important. It signaled that even with tensions, countries can agree on basic principles. The ambassador said, "Pakistan has hosted millions of Afghan refugees for decades. We will continue to help, but we need the world's support." Still, everyone knew the meeting would not end with just smiles and handshakes. The next part of the session was sure to bring controversy. After the vote, Pakistan shifted its tone. Ambassador Akram addressed the council about security threats he said were coming from Afghanistan. His words grew sharper as he listed attacks and named militant groups. "We have undeniable proof that terrorist groups like the Tehrik-i Taliban Pakistan, or TTP, and ISKP operate from Afghan soil," he insisted. He blamed the Taliban-led Afghan government for not stopping these fighters. "This threatens Pakistan's security and undermines regional stability," he warned. Akram called for international pressure on Afghanistan. He wanted the world to, ensure Afghan soil is not used for terrorism against its neighbors. He warned that inaction would lead to more violence, not just in Pakistan, but across the region. The speech made headlines, but it was not just the words that drew attention. It was the reaction of the US diplomat, whose smile quickly became an internet sensation. As Pakistan's ambassador spoke, cameras zoomed in on the US deputy ambassador's face. Robert Wood tried to keep a straight face, but honestly, a sly smile appeared as Pakistan accused Afghanistan of harboring terrorists. This was not just a private joke. The smile reflected the complicated relationship between the US and Pakistan. For years, Washington has accused Pakistan itself of supporting militant groups, especially during the war in Afghanistan. Now, with the roles reversed, irony was thick in the air. Some diplomats saw the grin as a silent message. It was as if he was saying, "Really? You're the one lecturing about terrorism?" A European envoy whispered to a reporter. Social media picked up the moment instantly. Soon, news outlets around the world replayed the clip. The smile became a symbol of diplomatic skepticism, and honestly, the contradictions of global politics. Pakistan's ambassador did not back down. He laid out his government's concerns in clear terms. "Pakistan has lost over 80,000 lives to terrorism," Akram said, his voice firm. "We have been on the front line against extremism, but we cannot face these challenges alone." He blamed the Afghan government for allowing terror sanctuaries on its soil. He cited recent attacks in Pakistan's border regions. "We expect the Taliban authorities to act firmly against all terrorist groups," he said. Akram also called for more support from the international community. "Afghanistan's neighbors must come together," he urged. "We need joint efforts, intelligence sharing, and no tolerance for safe havens." But as the world listened, some questioned whether Pakistan's words matched its actions. The US smile was not the only sign of doubt in the room. While the Security Council talked about peace, tragedy struck in Kabul. Reports came in of a deadly bombing at a hospital. Afghan officials immediately accused Pakistan of launching the attack from across the border. Taliban spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahid condemned the strike, saying, "Pakistan has violated our sovereignty and killed innocent civilians." He called the attack cowardly and demanded an international investigation. "Hospitals must never be targets," he said. The Afghan Foreign Ministry issued a strong statement too. "We hold Pakistan responsible for this act of terror," it read. Videos and images of wounded children spread online, fueling outrage. Pakistan's Foreign Office denied any involvement. "These allegations are baseless," said a spokesperson. "Pakistan respects Afghanistan's sovereignty and rejects all terrorist acts." The Security Council session became a textbook case of diplomatic irony, a stage where the world's most powerful nations gathered, yet struggled to find common ground. The grand halls echoed with speeches, but the real conversations happened in the silences and glances exchanged across the table. Pakistan warned of the dangers of terrorism, raising alarms about threats that cross borders. Yet, in a twist of fate, it found itself facing its own set of accusations, highlighting the complex web of blame and suspicion that defines international politics. The US diplomat's subtle smile captured the skepticism. and really the deep mistrust in the room. It was a reminder that beneath the formalities, every gesture is loaded with meaning and every word is weighed for hidden intent. This moment matters for more than just headlines or fleeting news cycles. It's a reflection of the ongoing struggle to balance national interests with the global responsibilities and the challenge of turning rhetoric into real action. It shows just how hard it is to build trust in international relations. Even the simplest gestures like a handshake can falter when suspicion runs deep and past grievances remain unresolved. Every country brings its own story, its own wounds, and its own version of the truth to the table. These differences shape negotiations, making compromise both essential and elusive. But when leaders talk past each other, refusing to truly listen, real peace becomes harder to achieve. Dialogue turns into monologue, and opportunities for understanding slip away. The Kabul hospital bombing was a stark reminder of the human cost of these disputes. Behind every diplomatic standoff are real lives shattered by violence and instability. While diplomats argue in New York, ordinary people in the region suffer the consequences. Families are displaced, communities live in fear, and hope for peace feels distant. The world needs more than speeches and smiles. It needs real cooperation, honest dialogue, and a shared commitment to peace. Only through genuine engagement can lasting solutions be found. In the end, that's the lesson from this week's drama at the UN. The world is watching, waiting to see if leaders will rise above politics and prioritize humanity. And peace, though still a long way off, remains a goal worth striving for, one that demands patience, courage, and above all, hope.